There's a new Netflix docuseries out on the streaming platform called Bad Influence, the dark side of kidfluencing. The docuseries is raising questions about how kids are being showcased and exploited online.
As more people share photos and videos of their children on social media, it's important to know when content could be actually crossing the line. And joining us to continue the conversation about this is Paul Hutchinson, a child protection advocate and founder of the Child Liberation Foundation. Paul, thanks so much for your time this morning. Good to see you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tyrah. Excited to share with your audience today.
Yeah, so explain, when do you think kidfluencing, as we call this, crosses the line of exploitation? What's the line there?
Well, so many parents think that they're safe with their kids online because they have their safety in their home. The challenge is, and I know this because, as the executive producer of Sound of Freedom, I've led 70 undercover child rescue missions in 15 countries, and I know how predators identify their children. And many times the predators aren't lurking in some dark alley. Predators are in the comment section of your child's social media. And so it's incredibly important for you as a parent to pay attention to what's happening with their social media. I mean, it's exciting that these kids are wanting to be online and wanting to get out there, but the parent needs to understand that what goes online stays online, and what's on there now may be there 25 years from now, and a lot of the predators that are out there are identifying their victims online.
It's just terrifying. So when we upload content to websites and apps, it's easy to forget it's not just our family and friends viewing that content. So how are predators using those everyday posts to target kids?
We did an operation in Mexico in a beach city in which one of the traffickers was bringing children as young as 7 years old, and he was identifying many of his victims by scoping the internet and identifying where families coming in from other countries were in town, and when teenagers especially were there unaccompanied. And he would send out a thing to them saying, hey, I'm a guide in the area. I can take you on a free boat ride out to this island, etc. And then he would identify the girls or the boys even who were more vulnerable and weren't there with parental supervision, etc. He would drug them. He would take their passports. And so these are real issues that are happening when these predators are identifying where the children are, where they're showing up, what their school schedule is, etc. And what parents need to know is that the majority of children that are being trafficked for these horrible things, like what you see on our movie, even in my book, The Sound of Freedom, that most of those children actually sleep in their own beds at night, and parents have no idea what's going on. They get what we call sextortion, where somebody will take a picture of them, or they'll even take online photos and use AI to be able to take their clothes off and then use that as leverage to then get these kids to do more things. So it's incredibly dangerous. So it's important that parents are paying close attention to what's going on their comment section, on what information is out there. If you wouldn't share that information with a complete stranger, with a predator, then don't put it online.
Yeah, Paul, it's just terrifying to think about this. So what are some of the warning signs that people should look out for, and how should somebody respond if they see those signs?
Well, the predators will use different types of grooming techniques. They're going to try to build a relationship with the child online somehow. It's important that you as a parent are monitoring all of the comments, all the likes, and also from an emotional standpoint, even not just the predators who would do horrific things to these children, just the child's emotional health moving forward and not getting addicted to likes and comments on their social media is important. It's important that they understand how to have healthy relationships outside of the digital world. And you as a parent need to be their 911. People will leave the movie Sound of Freedom, or they'll finish reading my book and they'll say, okay, what can I do? I want to help. The worst thing you can do is go to Mexico, try to rescue children. You're going to get shot. The best thing you can do is go home and hug your children, because a healthy family, that nuclear family is something that is the greatest protection against online threats and the other threats that are in the world.
Yeah, that nuclear family certainly sets a strong foundation for the child. So what are some smart, simple, everyday things parents can do to protect the kids online?
Honestly, as a lot of our training, a lot of my CIA friends and FBI friends, they don't even let their kids have a social media under 16 years old. Now, a lot of parents are like, well, my child will be left out of the cool kids if they're not. Well, if that's the case, if they're not an influencer, make sure that their controls are set up within your social media so that the only people that are commenting and liking and looking at the pictures are their real friends. You know, there's no reason to have this massive open book opportunity for these predators to be able to see what's happening with the kids. So a lot of guys who are working in the protection services in the government with these kids don't allow their own kids to have social media up to a certain age. And even after that, there's a close monitoring that you need to do. And so make sure that you have access to your kids' social media accounts so that you can monitor everything that's going on to ensure their safety online.
Really important conversation. And Paul, thanks so much for bringing it to our attention this morning. Good to see you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tyrah.